It's drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he home runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 55 of the Burrows on the title. It's the wrong number. That's my bad. How are we doing? A very exciting week in the world of New York baseball. Giuseppe Oliveri making his Burrows debut, hopping on with us today as we get set to talk Mets, Yanks, and a lot of other stuff around the league. Giuseppe, what does it feel like to be here?
Well, a little disrespected, first of all. I watched
Come
the
on.
intro. There's no Giuseppe in the intro. And I want to make this clear now. We come as a package. It's Giuseppe and Giuseppe's mustache. It's not, it's two different things here. You can have the mustache on by itself, and it's his own guy.
I love the stash. I'm sorry I didn't make a brand new intro for you to do this episode.
Yeah,
It's actually a really funny Mike and the Mad Dog story. In their heyday, Mike took a vacation and they had a power struggle the entire time they were together. And basically, one day when Mike was on vacation, Mad Dog redid the intro and basically took they muted whenever they would say Mike Francesa, they muted the entire thing. And it was like basically just a Mad Dog entrance. And that caused such a freaking you-know-what storm at that station. And that story is in the documentary they did, the 30 for 30. It's hysterical. Let's start actually not with baseball. It'll lead into baseball for a second. Watching that Game 7 last night, okay, and watching every Game 7 in these NHL playoffs makes me just thank God that I am not a diehard fan of a hockey team, although I am a diehard Isles/Oilers fan. I am so blessed that I am not a fan of one of these teams because I don't know what I would do. Like an extra inning baseball game in the postseason, like that's the closest it gets, but it's still not that intensity of one of these games. My heart would be out of my chest watching those games if I was a fan of one of those teams.
There's a moment whenever you go to overtime in a Stanley Cup playoff game, every single shot, your heart drops. I have the story here. I was at Game 1. This was the 2022 Rangers, the miracle run to the Eastern Conference Finals. Penguins-Rangers went to 3 overtimes. Rangers lost, by the way. I was there for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't take a piss. Every single intermission, I would get out of my seat. I would just try to go. So now I'm miserable. My bladder's about to explode. My heart's dropping. And I get the sad train ride home. That was probably the worst possible way it could end. That's the tale of two sides to every playoff game.
That is crazy. You couldn't pee?
No, the line was insane. If you
I thought like you physically could not go because of the stress. That's how it sounded. Like you were
the
like
line was too long.
constipated somehow.
Line was too long. You would have been in line all overtime.
Okay. So now we'll talk baseball. We're going to start with the Mets. We have Kodai Senga going down. And we're going to start with him because he's so good. I mean, he is so freaking good, but you can't trust the guy. And, you know, I try and hold back. I don't want to say my expectations, but I guess my view on Senga, because when he's on, he pitches like an ace. But I don't think you could consider somebody an ace. And I know it's a new age of baseball, but when you have a guy that can't go every 5th day, it's every 6th day. He needs the 5 days of rest. And you're constantly worried about this guy getting hurt, whether he's throwing the baseball or running to freaking first base. Okay. I can't consider the guy an ace. He pitches like one, but he's not the definition of one because you can't trust him.
Well, it's getting to the point where he's slowly going into the what if kind of category in baseball. And it's not that it's the same injury. If you could sit here and say it's something in the arm, you say it's something in the calf, and it's something that you know you can prevent, you can work with, fine. Then I guess you could take it a different angle. But it's the fact that now it's a hamstring, and you're looking at an elbow the other year and a calf the other year. And it's all simple things, too. It's making a play off the mound. It's running over to first. And he says that he got hurt before Pete Alonso threw it high and he had to jump. I don't know how much I believe that. But at the end of the day, still, it's just the fact that It's so hard to invest in a player if you're the New York Mets and as a fan, if you can't trust the guy to make the simple plays without going down. Not a knock on Senga. He's been, in my opinion, probably the most trusted pitcher for the Mets so far this year. But in terms of health, that's a whole different story.
He's a 1.47 ERA, an ERA plus of 2.58, 73 innings pitched. He has 70 strikeouts. Again, like, we're not denying the talent. We're not denying that when he is on the mound pitching, he is one of the best pitchers in the National League. But it's a trust thing. It's whenever he moves. It's almost like the DeGrom feeling after the first couple of injuries where you know how good the guy is. I think it's worse with Senga, though, because it's basically every movement. You knew DeGrom was an athlete. You knew DeGrom at his peak when he was hitting, and he was actually a good hitter, and he could field his position well. Like, those things didn't worry me. It was just when he threw the ball 100 miles per hour. With Senga, it's absolutely everything he does scares the living you-know-what out of me.
And it's such a shame, too, because you look at the guy's numbers. This isn't really a guy down the road you want to afford to lose. When the Mets are in the playoffs and you need a big game out of a guy in Kodai Senga, you don't know if he's going to be there to give you the 6 innings that you need because, I mean, you nailed it right on the head. Every single movement. Imagine this guy swinging a bat if you never had a DH.
God.
Forget about it.
God.
It's just, it's a shame. And you see it with the guys from the Korean leagues, the Japanese leagues, when they come over, it's always some sort of adjustment. But now that adjustment period has come and gone, he is adjusted to everything that you could possibly do coming overseas to the MLB. And it's not that same narrative anymore. It's just the player is injury prone, and that's a problem.
Yeah, David Stern's going to have a live press conference. He does at least one of these a homestand. He's going to do his today at 4:10. And I'm sure we're going to get a Kodai Senga update, if not before then. And again, like we could be sitting here completely overreacting. I was on Twitter yesterday, and people are going crazy. We lost Senga for the year, this and that. Listen, it could be a very mild strain, and he's back in a month or two. And if that's the case, let's just say, it's not a serious strain, and we're sitting here on June 13th, and he's back in 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, that could end up being a blessing. It could end up saving his arm. Now he's a little bit more fresh for the postseason. You're not necessarily worried about overworking him when it gets late, when you're competing for a division and then into the postseason. So that's where I think it could be a blessing. But either way, it stinks to lose him. But I don't have this fear right now with the way this team's playing and the guys that are coming back, whether it's Montas in a week or two, bringing Blackburn into the rotation, and then hopefully Minaya in a month from now. I'm not overly concerned at the moment that this is going to truly hurt this team.
No, and I was talking about this before with my buddies, and I'm saying to myself, even if this is last year, years past, this happens, and I'm ready to wave the white flag. And I say, this was the first domino to fall. Mets season is going to crumble. 20 games over 500, best home record in the MLB. You have a rotation that has exceeded any and all expectations. You got Montas and Minaya coming. Cavalry is coming. Let's pump the brakes. This lineup over the past half month or month or so, in my opinion, has been one of the best in the MLB. This rotation continuing to do what they do best. They're giving you not the length of innings, but they're giving you the quality innings. They hand it over to the bullpen and you feel comfortable. Losing Senga sucks. It hurts. It's a punch in the gut, but by no means is this any reason to panic.
How crazy is it that this rotation has no starter other than Blake Tidwell in St. Louis has given up more than 4 runs in a start, more than 4 earned runs in a start. Looked like Canning was going to break that on Tuesday night. He didn't. He only gave up the 4. Blake Tidwell's the only starter, and he's back in AAA. It's what this rotation has done is it's fascinating because it doesn't make any sense. But give Hefner credit, Stearns credit, and of course the pitching lab that we all know so much about. Give all of that all the credit in the world.
I mean, isn't it weird that I'm watching Clay Holmes and Griffin Canning take them out, that I'm sitting back relaxing and go, I trust these guys. Now, I think Canning at times, he's been shaky, but still, I sit back and I say, screw it. Go. Pitch. I'm not biting my nails.
I'm getting there with Canning, though. I'm getting a little nervous with Canning now. I'm not going to lie. Clay Holmes, I have full faith, and he goes tonight against the Rays. I have full trust in Clay Holmes every time he takes the mound. And that, I had pretty high expectations for Clay Holmes coming into this season. I actually thought he would be, a nice number 3 starter for this team, but I think he's even exceeded my high expectations for him this season. How about McGill finding a way to stay in this rotation again? It's like, what is he doing? What does he do to get himself to stay in this rotation? Now he's at least another month here, 2 months that he's going to continue to pitch.
Well, I mean, there's 2 ways to look at this. My favorite is the black magic in the dugout and see whatever he's doing or behind closed doors. And then the logical explanation is, look, he's a good pitcher. I really do trust Tyler McGill, I think, a lot more than other people. I'm not saying he's perfect. I know that he could lose control at times. I know that he could look sloppy at times. But when I watch him, I just think to myself, his mechanics are too good to not eventually get into a nice groove like what we're seeing with Peterson over this last year or so. I really do believe that as long as McGill has a place in the lineup, if he has a place in the bullpen, whatever it may be, I really do believe that his stuff is too good. His mechanics are too good to lose faith in him through and through.
Let's talk about. I'll go on that point with McGill, and then we have to talk about Peterson because I forgot to text. I forgot to text him to you. McGill has good stuff. He does, and the perfect example of exactly what Tyler McGill is. 8-0 Sunday in Colorado. He's going into the fifth or 6th inning, and he has not allowed a hit. He finishes 5. He's in the 6th, and listen, by no means by saying he's still a freaking no-hitter, but it's 8-0, and you haven't allowed a hit yet. And he can barely get... Oh, no, it was the 5th. He was going into the 5th, and he can barely get through that 5th inning. He gives up 2 runs, a bunch of hits, bunch of walks. That's Tyler McGill. He just loses it. He has an inning here and there, and it almost takes him out of a start. It didn't that time. The 4 runs in the first inning against the Dodgers a couple of weeks ago, he actually ended up pitching well in that game after the first, but it is just so frustrating sometimes watching this guy because there's talent there, but he loses it.
And that's why sometimes you'll say to yourself, eventually, when everybody comes back and everyone's healthy, you're going to love him in the bullpen for that reason as a long guy, because it's always a blow-up inning. I feel like with McGill, and I really like with the Dodgers game, for example, he came in, he got hit around, but then something so underrated that any starting pitcher can do, they stay in the game, they eat innings, they save the bullpen, trust your lineup to get back in the game. And that's what he did. And that, to me, is something that goes very overlooked. But, yeah, the blow-up innings are a problem. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing. Thank you, JM. I know. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's you lose it, you get tired, or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I trust McGill. Maybe not to go as deep as these other guys. But finally, yes, concern for Griffin Canning. No,
I do. Not you.
I have DJ, I'm a dummy.
No, he called me a dummy, not you.
I believe in Griffin Canning still. But again, with McGill, I really do believe that he has the right stuff. And again, it's a work in progress. He's been a longer work in progress, don't get me wrong, but he's not somebody to pull the rug out. Nowhere close.
How about David Peterson? I mean, you don't see complete games much nowadays. And then you get a complete game shutout from Peterson, who he was in the zone the whole night. They actually hit the ball hard against him a little bit, but they were at people. He let up 6 hits, but to have that control and that kind of command, no walks in the game, it's something that you don't see. And go back to David Peterson's last start before the one against Washington, the Thursday afternoon against the Dodgers. He went 7 innings, only had 80, 90 pitches, something like that. Some people thought Mendoza should have left him in. I agreed with taking him out. But he has given this team so much length. He's been, I think, easily their most reliable guy in terms of knowing exactly what you're getting on a night-to-night basis when he's on the mound. And to see this turnaround now, which has basically been a full year, is incredible and completely shocking to me. I mean, considering we've watched David Peterson for years now, and this is what they drafted 7-8 years ago, but you didn't see it for the first few seasons when he was in the league.
Dude's an all-star. I love this guy so much.
He's got to be an all-star.
He's an all-star. And length. The one knock on this Mets rotation, there's not a lot, has been the length. It's been a lot of 5-inning starts, 6-inning starts. If you could get one guy to just go deep for you, and it doesn't have to be 8, 9 innings every time. But if you have a guy consistently going 6 innings, maybe 6 1/3, whatever it may be, that's an improvement. And this is a Mets rotation that we have guys that you're going to go to the next half of the season and say to yourself, all right, are the innings going to catch up to him, especially with Clay Holmes? So for a guy to give you length and to prove that he can, and his problem was always the walks. It was always the free pass, and you limit that and you go deep into games. It's something that wasn't desperately needed in the Mets rotation, but it's nice to see that they can have that from at least one guy. And then Manaea comes back, and you see how that length goes and see how deep he can go into the season. But this has been a rotation without guys going deep. And the fact that Peterson can go out there and limit the bullpen usage or rest the bullpen usage, that is definitely something that Mendoza absolutely loves going into the All-Star break.
And like, you have to consider him at this point one of the better left-handed pitchers in the game. I mean, it's been a full year now. It's been a full year of him pitching at this level. And we'll pull up the numbers here for a second. Last year, 10-3 with a 2.90 ERA. I was only in 121 innings because remember, he missed the first 2 months of the year. An ERA plus of 133. This year, his ERA plus is 152. He's at 79 innings already, 71 strikeouts. This is a guy that, listen, hasn't had a ton of innings in one season, but I think you trust him. I think if you're looking at guys in this rotation where you say, okay, you know what? He might be the guy that gets you to 170, 180 innings, which is a lot nowadays. It's going to be Peterson. It's going to be David Peterson as long as he stays healthy. I think at this moment right now, even with, I guess not with Senga healthy, I guess with Senga healthy, he would be my game one starter. But David Peterson is making a case that if you were going to have a postseason game tomorrow and Senga was healthy, you could make a case for it to be David Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Especially if you want to talk about biggest thing to me is length. How much do you want to use that bullpen in game one? I mean, if it becomes a close game late, then obviously you're going to go to the bullpen no matter what. But at the end of the day, if Peterson can give you the consistent length, you'll love it. But again, Senga, he seems unhittable at times. He gets into a groove so early in the game, and then he's on cruise control. So it does suck to see him always getting hurt. But if he can stay healthy, man, it's a big if. I know it is. But if he can stay healthy, and then Manaea comes back, now all of a sudden you got 3 guys in a rotation that you have nothing but confidence in.
Let's ask this question. Is Brandon Nimmo a Nationals merchant, or is he here? Is he now starting to break out of this slump that we saw early in the season and really turn into this player that I think we saw, in the beginning of last season and then obviously 2022?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest Brandon Nimmo.
That's why I'm posing the question to you.
He has hit some balls that he has not been able to touch early on the season. Over the last week or so, you've seen him get to some pitches that he wasn't even coming close to touching. And that's why I'm getting confidence. And even more than that, bigger than just a Brandon Nimmo conversation, the Mets need to find their 2-hitter. And Nimmo has been coming into his own. And not to take the spotlight away from Nimmo, but Starling Marte has quietly been really productive in that 2-hole when the Mets have needed him to. But I think that Nimmo has found his groove. We know he's streaky. We know that, speaking of injuries with Senga, this guy is one bad slide away from being out for the next 2 or 3 months. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Yep. But if he can stay healthy, I understand he's streaky. I think at the very least, you could say the Mets have found a part-time solution in that 2-hole.
It's huge. I mean, think back to 2022 when Marte, was first here. He was one of their more important players on that season, and he was great in the 2-hole. And now Nimmo starting to catch some fire, starting to play a little bit more consistently over the past couple of weeks here. That's huge to set up Soto and Alonso. And I don't think it's a coincidence. Obviously, Lindor has had the toe for a week now. He's quieted a little bit, but before then was on. It's no coincidence that Soto and Alonso have been this good over the past 3 weeks because Nimmo in the 2-hole has just been figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about the beginning of the season. Mets have the best 1 through 5 hitters. If that's an opinion you wanted, I believed in it. But then you need the 2-hole hitter, who was arguably in today's game the most important hitter in that lineup. Maybe not the most important player in the lineup, but in terms of where you want your guys to hit, 2 is very important. If your leadoff guy gets on, we saw it. If Lindor would get on, Nimmo, whoever's batting 2, gets down, and Soto comes up, who was hitting nothing to double plays at the time, that is a big difference.
And that I didn't love moving Soto out of the 2-hole. I'm not gonna lie, and it looks like it's worked, and it looks like they're gonna continue with this. I didn't love it, but now that it's worked and his numbers are getting back to normal, he's at 858 OPS now. He leads the league in walks. I think I'm okay with this now.
My thing with Soto is he's too good where you can move him up to 2 the next day and it wouldn't affect him, in my opinion. Like Lindor moving from 2-3 up to the leadoff spot, that's different. He feels comfortable in the leadoff spot. If you were to move him down to the 2-4, whatever that range, then I think he'd see some struggles. But this really benefits Alonso, I think, more than anything else, to be back into such a traditional power hitter cleanup spot, especially with guys getting on base. It definitely helps. So moving Soto up to 2 in the future isn't something I would do just because it really does benefit Pete to hit in that 4-hole.
Well, Nimmo's on base has not been where it usually is. He only got a 305 on base, and it was a lot lower. Actually, I'm 305. Yeah, Sim and Taylor actually have the same on base, and they were right back to back. His on base has not been where it usually is, and now that he's playing a little better, he's just more productive. He's getting on base. He's not walking as much, but he's hitting the ball. That's the biggest thing. It's just, yeah, you're 100% right, because now you have Alonso coming up, Soto coming up, at times with 2 guys on, 3 guys on potentially, and they're just doing damage because these pitchers don't want to see them. They don't want to see them.
No. And again, when Nimmo's not in and Marte needed to fill that 2-hole, he's been very productive. That's definitely not as consistent. I don't think we're going to be saying that same thing in 2-3 weeks about Starling Marte. That's just not the kind of guy he is anymore. But you want to talk about filling the spot and bringing up your number being called. Nimmo's been that guy. And if not Nimmo, I love Jeff McNeil. Quietly over 900 OPS.
Jeff McNeil might be making a case for the All-Star team here. I mean, seriously. 7 homers. He's been hitting 270 with a 911 OPS. He could potentially be making a run at the All-Star game.
He's just quietly been good. If you don't follow the Mets or New York baseball, if you said this to some random Midwestern fan, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about, Jeff McNeil? Because when he first came up, back from the injury, terrible defense, not hitting the ball, and everybody was ready to write him off. And here he is, smacking the hell out of the ball, playing much better defense, going to center if you need him to. He has been, not the 2022 Jeff, but he has been the best version of himself since that season.
I think this is better than 2022, Jeff. I would
Just
rather
for the power.
The power, the extra base hits. I'd rather a guy with a 900 OPS than a guy with an 800 OPS, but his batting average is a little higher. I mean, I'll go back to that. I'm going to go pull up those numbers very quickly. Yeah, and he had 326 with 836 OPS. This player is more productive. This guy that he is right now is more productive. Just is.
Yeah, he's been
He's more like 2019 Jeff with the juice balls.
There you go. And it's not that he's just doing it in random spots. He's doing it in big spots.
Especially lately.
Yeah, it's not that he's good in the games and then he comes up late in the game, you need a big hit and you want to turn the TV off. He has been productive in every single essence of the game. From the first inning to the 9th inning, this has been a guy that you have full faith in coming to the plate, which is something that I don't think anybody saw coming at this point of the season.
No, it's not. Let's very quickly, the circle of trust right now in the bullpen. Ryan Stanek is ripped out of that circle of trust. Ripped out.
The guy's allergic to big spots.
It's 4-0 in a game where you lose Senga. You need to win this baseball game, because if you lost it, then I think some panic would have set in. He can't get an out. This is not the first time he's had one of those innings. He was bailed out last Friday in Colorado with the line drive double play right to Beatty. He had the bases loaded, nobody out in a tie game. Completely bailed out in that spot. I'm very worried about him. And Mendoza likes going to him, but right now he's out of that circle of trust.
Yeah, I'm ready to put him at the door, just because I'm a very big believer what he did last year. And last year, a guy was untouchable. He was amazing. And I know he hasn't been that.
He's not out, but he's on his way out. Is that what you're saying?
He's on his way out, because
okay,
when he's on, he's the perfect bridge guy. And I do think that he can be that, because he has the stuff, he has the location, he definitely has the velocity. But it's just in today's game, velocity isn't nearly as important if you can't find your spots. You could throw 100 down the middle, and these guys are going to hit it today. It's as simple as that. It's not even like 5-10 years ago where you're throwing 100 and your jaws drop and everyone oohs and ahs at it. I believe it's a rough spot. It's a very big rough spot. He shouldn't be coming into these high leverage situations. Yesterday wasn't a high leverage situation. You're shutting the door on a 4-1 lead against the Washington Nationals. So more than anything, I just really believe it's a confidence thing as of right now.
I don't know who is it. Diaz in the circle of trust. Brazaban. Buto is coming back into the circle of trust. I mean, he was out. I think he's back in. Obviously, Reed is in the circle of trust.
Yeah.
Is Kranick in the circle of trust?
I don't know. He's in like the circle of reliable. I don't know if
not trust
is the right
not
word.
Trust. Okay.
But Kranick's never really coming into a spot where I got to hold my breath, you know? I mean, he's had times where he's gotten hit around, but he's never come into a spot for me and I say, this is the game. This is the make or break spot. Because, I mean, he's not that guy to come in late.
I like him. I think I trust him. I think that if it's a tie game in the 7th inning and they bring him in, I feel decent. I don't feel great, but I feel decent. And he's coming back up for the Senga injury. Still no update on that. We're going to move over to the Yankees. We're going to talk about this anonymous player poll that The Athletic does once a year, a bunch of questions. I am going to not quiz Giuseppe, but he's going to try and answer some of these questions and try and give us the answers on who were the most responded to players. So we'll get to that in a little bit. We are going to talk about the Yankees who sweep away the Kansas City Royals. And I don't know if you saw last night's game. The Yankees won the game 1-0. They benched Aaron Judge last night to give him a day. And he came actually into the game in the 8th inning in a tie game. And he struck out looking on a terrible call from the umpire. Like, terrible call. It was a 2-2 pitch. Umpire calls pitch, and he calls it a ball. And then literally in the same exact spot, calls it a strike the next pitch. It was actually a little lower, so it was a worse pitch, but basically the same spot. Judge strikes out looking. But the Yankees win the game 1-0, and they sweep this series. And, like, I don't know what to say because the Yankees haven't played bad baseball. I mean, you look at the last 2 weeks, they're close to 500 over that span, but they haven't played bad baseball. They haven't been great. I'm watching these games against the Royals, the American League. Like, the Royals are bad. Like, how about this? I think the Nationals might be more talented than the Royals, and the Royals are a game under 500. The Nationals are 8 games under 500. Like, that's the disparity, I think, in the American League and National League right now. You have an up-and-coming team in the Nationals that might have more talent than a Royals team that was in the postseason last year and expected to get back and have one of the best players in the sport on their team. And I think the Nationals are close in talent right now.
I don't know if talent is the right word. Maybe more hype, more excitement around them. But in terms of talent, in terms of trusting guys, I'm still giving it Kansas City hands down. It's the team that has struggled mightily and has fallen from grace in terms of their expectations. It's not like that everyone thought they were going to blow the roof off the place. But with the American League, it's weird because you have the Tigers, who are really the only other true threat to the World Series, and that's still a young up-and-coming team, and that's a team that I don't really know is going to be able to compete with the Yankees come postseason time just when it comes to the experience alone. You know more about it when they play again. They played early in the season, April? You can't take away anything from that. Yeah, that doesn't count. That's basically spring training still. And look, when you throw the American League in top contenders to the World Series, Yankees, if it was a normal year and you had a deeper American League, we wouldn't be talking about the Tigers as highly, I don't think. Yeah, guys like the Red Sox who were supposed to be making splashes. What have they done? And the Orioles, we'll talk about a fall. They went from heaven to hell in about a month span, and it's just not enough competition. I'm not taking that away from the Yankees because you play who you play, and they've been beating up on teams convincingly. It's not that. It's just the fact of the matter is the Yankees are kind of on cruise control. I don't know how else to put it.
It's a good point. They are, because there isn't that team in the American League, and whether I'm disrespecting the Tigers for a third straight episode or not, like, there isn't that team that I think you sit there and you say you're worried. You know, it was the Astros for a while and the Red Sox for a pop-up year, Or last season, I mean, you really didn't have it, but, you know, maybe it was the Guardians that could potentially upset you, but obviously that doesn't happen. Like, that team that can truly go toe-to-toe with the Yankees, I don't think is in their league. I really don't. And maybe we're discrediting the Blue Jays or the Rays, who have been good of late, but I don't think that team exists in the American League right now, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, okay, you're going to be at least in the American League Championship Series, barring injury. And then the bad part about it is that when you finally get to that postseason in the ALCS and the World Series, have you really been tested? How much have you actually been tested throughout the full season?
And that's what I said last year when the Yankees ran into the Dodgers and it didn't even seem competitive. It's the fact that teams need to get better. The Dodgers needed to get better. They had a gauntlet to run through in the National League. Same thing now with the Yankees. They need to get better. Who is that team in a postseason bracket in their own division that's going to force them to elevate their game? There was a time where the Tampa Bay Rays were giving the Yankees a run for their money. I mean, the Red Sox, we talked about them. That's what you want. The Orioles last year, even though last year wasn't so much a team winning the division, it was just another team losing the division on how they were playing towards the back stretch. Mm-hmm. But you want a team to elevate your game. And you feel like every division has it. Almost every division has it. But then you go to the AL East, and it's almost like the AL Central for a very long time. It was that one team up top, and then everybody else. And that's been expanded to almost the entire American League outside of Detroit.
And Toronto has played well. I mean, they have. They're 38-30 now. They've won 3 straight. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They have played well. Their run differential's bad. Their expected win total is 34-34. But yeah, like I think the division is over today, even though it's a 4.5 game lead. Like today, I think the division is over. Now, the Yankees obviously don't believe that, and their players don't believe that, and their fans might not even say that to you because they don't want to jinx it or this and that, or they truly believe, I guess, in the Blue Jays. But to me, watching these teams, watching the Yankees play, I think it's done. I think it's over. And you're getting Stanton back. Is Stanton back today, or is he back this weekend or next week? I had read earlier in the week it was going to be today.
I mean, the sooner the better, I guess. But again, Stanton's not a player right now where you're begging to have him back. It's definitely going to help in terms of the lineup. I mean, don't get me wrong. And then Ben Rice is a whole other conversation. What do you do with him? But look, Stan's been mashing. He looks good. And the last couple of regular seasons with Stanton, the big knock has been this guy just feels like someone you don't want to have in the lineup. He can't do much besides hit the ball, and the strikeout numbers went up, but he looks scary right now. And if he can carry from what he had in last year's playoffs, that is a bat that is going to make a very rejuvenated Yankees lineup just that much better. And it takes a lot of pressure off of these younger guys as well.
And I think he's going to be back today. I think he's going to be back here in Boston this weekend at some point. And yeah, there's this rumor going around that Ben Rice might get some time at catcher here.
I love that. Look, I mean, nothing against Wells at all. But, I mean, Ben Rice never stopped working with the catching coaches or whatever. He's still working on his defensive game. And I didn't even know if he was ever going to catch again. With how Wells has started off the season, I mean, obviously he slowed down. He still have his spurts here and there. I thought that it was it. We were never going to see Ben Rice behind the plate. But all of a sudden, Framey, come on, get Ben Rice behind the plate just once. Just once I want to see it. And then we go
just want to see it.
Just want to see it. And it's a weird adjustment to make, though. Because now he's so used to the DH role and whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you want to throw him behind the plate. I know that you play for so long, it's not going to be that much of an adjustment. It's like riding a bike. Once you know it. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see that conversation down the line.
Ben Rice has played well enough to do whatever they can to get his bat in the lineup.
Yes.
I mean, he's definitely cooled off. His OPS is 802. He has certainly cooled off, considering it was 1,000 like a month ago.
But a lot of these guys have, though. You know, it's not just Ben Rice is an outcast. A lot of these guys have definitely slowed down from what they were first doing.
Slowed down.
Yeah.
Goldschmidt's still been very good for them, but I mean, his OPS was close to 900 a week or two ago. I still, again, it creates some sort of logjam, but I also don't think it's a bad idea for 37-year-old Paul Goldschmidt to, sit a couple of days here, against a tough right-handed hitter. That's not the worst thing in the world. And now Ben Rice is at first and Stanton's DHing. And vice versa. Tough lefty, Ben Rice is on the bench, and Paul Goldschmidt starting at first base. Like, that's also not a bad problem to have. It's just, playing the matchups the right way and then getting them at bats in the middle of the game where they don't start when you're pinch hitting for them.
Yeah. And it's always, I think Boone does a very good job with that, knowing the kind of order he wants to have. And in terms of the young guys, it's weird. And it's almost like a Roman Anthony situation where you want Ben Rice to get as many of the reps as he can, but you're on a win-now team. And win-now teams can't afford to let those kinds of players in the lineup every single day and let them develop into their own. And Ben Rice at the beginning of the season looked like an everyday guy, and he cooled off. And the fact of the matter is that Paul Goldschmidt's not your future. So it doesn't hurt to just have him play what he can. You're in a win-now mode. If Paul Goldschmidt is your best opportunity at going to win a World Series, you keep him in because he won't be here in 5 years. Ben Rice will. So work with what you have now. Ben Rice isn't going anywhere. He's an untouchable for New York. At least I think he should be. I'm sure he is. And work the splits. He's still young. He's still got plenty of time. And he'll be here in 5 years.
Devin Williams looks like he's back. We're going to go through the last 14 days here. 1.69 ERA, 4 saves in 5 innings, 6 strikeouts. You want to go even more. Last 28 days, 2.38 ERA, 5 saves, 11 innings, 16 strikeouts. The guy seems like he's getting more comfortable, and now with Weaver out, this was the one thing. Weaver has a hamstring injury as well, and he's only going to miss a month and a half. If Weaver went down and this kind of got Devin Williams right, then maybe it was a blessing in disguise for this team, because Weaver from a hamstring injury is going to come back and he's going to be perfectly fine. Is that not like it's an elbow injury or arm injury? So now you can have Weaver come back, and he's been so good, he's probably going to be the closer again. But you get Devin Williams now more comfortable and back to his regular form. That's big time. It's almost a blessing in disguise having Weaver go down.
Sometimes you got to be forced to be good. And with Weaver out, if Weaver never got hurt, you don't know if you see Devin Williams in a closer role for the rest of the year, because Weaver was that good. And what does that say to a guy who got paid to come into the biggest market in baseball and be your closer, and you got kicked out of that job a month into the season? And now you're back into it, and you can settle in. He still has a few of the spotty blow-up appearances here and there, but in terms of his stuff, in terms of the confidence that you've seen in the team in him, yeah, he looks awesome. And it really kind of boggled my mind how we had conversations about Edwin Diaz when he was struggling. We say, okay, we know the kind of pitcher he is. Relax, he'll be back. And then with Williams, it was a panic button right away. It was a new environment for him. He was coming off, if you want to call the Alonso home run that much of an effect on him, so be it. But it was a guy who's been a top-end closer in this league for years now, and all of a sudden we were so quick to press a panic button on him. We just had to give him time, find your stuff. You're in a brand new market, much bigger than Milwaukee, so be it. Spotlight's on you. And now all of a sudden with Weaver out, he's forced to be good, and he's getting into a spot where he's comfortable closing the games.
The Mets have officially placed Kodai Senga on the 15-day IL. As I mentioned before, Max Kranick will be the guy that comes up from AAA to take his spot. Blackburn most likely back into the rotation. 15-day, is that trying to infer something there instead of a 10-day? Or is that just procedural?
That is, nothing's procedural.
Okay.
With Kodai Senga, I feel like.
It's gonna be like, not that I expected it to be just 2 weeks and he's back, but it's like, all right, it's 2 weeks. It's definitely 2 weeks.
You're not in a spot where you got to rush him back, though. It's not like last year. Take your time. Please, for the love of God, take your time to get back.
Hey, they got back. They got there without him, completely without him, to the National League Championship Series without him. Either way. All right, we're going to read some of these questions from the anonymous poll. The Athletic did an anonymous MLB player poll, And there are some interesting questions here, and I want you to see if you can get, like, here, the first question: which player do you most like to watch? And you rattle off a bunch of names, and we'll see where we're at.
Okay. First and foremost, Bobby Witt Jr. has got to be on top for me.
Wow, look at that. 14. He was second.
Wow, he was second?
135 responses. He was second. That's shocking.
Wow.
Give me 3 more names.
I'm going to waste a guess and say Ohtani. I'm really hoping it's not him.
And he's the first, 29.
Of course he is. Ellie's probably up there.
Ellie's fourth. He's got 9. Give me one more.
Who else is there, man? Javi Baez. Why not?
Let's see. So what they do, which is really funny, is they'll like list out the top guys, and then the people that got 1 vote are in small print on the bottom.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I'm going to read you a couple of the crazy names from the small print.
Okay.
So Javi Baez is not here. Doesn't look like it.
That is messed up.
This is insane. I can't believe. Okay, ready? A couple of the names from the anonymous player poll that were voted for once: Luke Weaver, Bryson Stott, Joe Musgrove, Ryan McMahon, Jose Alvarado. All just a couple of names listed.
Did they vote for themselves? Does idiots vote for themselves?
I mean,
Jose
maybe
Alvarado got a sheet and said, "Oh yeah, sure, why not?"
I don't know how Jose Alvarado. I don't know what's more shocking. I don't know if Jose Alvarado or Ryan McMahon is more shocking.
Well, McMahon is on one of the most storied franchises in the MLB, so I understand. I understand that one.
Of course.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, defensively, guy's a wizard. He's all.
Okay, okay. You know what? True. I didn't put 2 and 2 together there. You're right about that. All right. What hitter would you least want to pitch against in Game 7 of the World Series? I'll give you 3, the top 3 here.
Okay. Wow. Freddie Freeman, probably.
Freddie Freeman's 5th. He
Okay.
had 4 votes out of 64 responses.
Is Judge on there?
Judge is 3rd. He has 6 votes.
Okay. I'm guessing Ohtani's going to be on all of these lists.
Ohtani is 2nd. He was 9th. You didn't get number 1.
This is interesting here. That you want to pitch against the least amount.
You don't want to pitch against this guy, Game 7 World Series.
You don't want to see this guy. It's not Soto, is it?
Juan Soto is number 1. He had 10 votes. And how about a couple of names from the guys that were only answered once? Tommy Edman, Nick Gordon, Max Kepler, and your guy, Brandon Nimmo, made that list. How Max Kepler made this list is beyond me.
They've got to be handing these out, and the teammates of Max Kepler are like, "I'll write you down, you write me down." Yeah, okay, that works. We can do that.
Unbelievable.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, Soto's 1 on that list.
Wow.
And this is what in their own words, one player said. He's just very disciplined. Just seems like when he doesn't hit anything, he doesn't hit anything soft, anything in the zone, he puts a barrel on it. His discipline is almost imitating, for lack of a better word, especially in high leverage situations. Yeah, got to make a perfect pitch.
Yeah.
What pitcher would you least like to face at the plate in Game 7 of the World Series?
I'm not going anywhere near Skeens. That's first and foremost.
He is 7th on the list. He had 3 votes.
Definitely Skubal. Don't want him.
Skubal is 2nd. He got 5 votes. 50 responses. I don't think you'll actually guess one. The number 1. I don't think you'll guess number 1.
I'm going to throw out a DeGrom here and see if he still has any respect these days.
He's on the list. He's got 2 votes. He's got 2 votes. He's on the list.
You telling me that I might not get one is really making me think here, like outside the box. Is Wheeler up there?
Wheeler is 3rd.
Okay.
He got 3 votes.
Is he a Dodger by any chance?
He's not. Like, you could get it, but it's it's not the first name you think of.
And this is going off of like just this season alone, this poll, or is this just in general?
This season, last season, in general, yeah.
It's interesting here. Garrett Cole.
No, Cole is not on the list.
No, that was a crappy guess. I don't know why I threw that name out.
Garrett Cole is on the list. Chris Sale was number 1, 8 votes.
I was thinking Sale, but you're right. It's not
Did
a
I throw
guy
you off?
going. I was thinking Sale, but again, I was thinking like 10 other pitchers. He's not someone that I was going consistently to the well, but he was that good last season.
Blake Trinan made the list. Josh Tomlin made the list. Edwin Diaz made the list.
There you go.
Josh Tomlin. Yeah, Chapman is 5th with 3 votes. 4th with 3 votes, which is shocking. And Joan Duran of the Twins is also on here. All righty. We'll move on to, let's see if I like this question. Oh, that's the end of this one. Oh, this is funny. This is where we'll end it. This is really funny. So this is, which manager aside from your own this is the first question, would you like to play for? 121 responses, where the players really went in. So I'll give you 5 guesses at the top 5.
Wow, okay. Do we have Mendy on the list?
Mendy is on the list. He
Wow.
has 6, but he's not in the top 5. He was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th on the list.
Let's not count the New York guys. How's Booney? Is Booney up there?
Boone right below Mendoza, 5. So
wow.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of like the fun managers, man. Dave Roberts, always somebody.
Dave is 6th. He got 7 votes.
Man. Alex Cora?
Alex Cora was not as high as I thought he was going to be here. Cora was 7th with 6 votes.
Wow.
You're going to be shocked by, I think, 2 of them on this list.
This is tough. This is a very tough one. Because I'm thinking, obviously you think managers and just their success, but I'm just trying to think of like the vibe guys and who's just always someone that the players seem to love. And I'm like blanking right now.
Bochy was number 1.
Wow.
Terry Francona was number 2. Going away, by the way.
That surprises me.
Stephen Vogt was number 3.
Yeah, I could have got that one.
Craig Counsell, Brian Snicker rounded out the top 5. And Jim Leland, Joe Torre, and David Ross all got voted for. Dusty Baker also voted for as well.
Okay, I was thinking Dusty, but then I was thinking like, all right, like today's managers.
Yes.
Okay.
But they were like way off the list. Like they were like 1 or 2 votes.
Okay.
This is a very interesting one. Which manager aside from your own would you not want to play for? This one got 40 votes.
Oh my God. That's a tough one. I'm trying to think here. I don't even know who the manager is in Miami, but it's got to be like a lower team like that. I would imagine.
He was actually on the list of guys that they would want to play for. Clayton,
really?
He was the first base coach from the Dodgers. Yes, he was on the list of managers you would want to play for.
Wow. This one's nuts too. Because again, it's like I'm just trying to think of guys that are just such pains in the asses. Like some like hard asses that you would never want to play for. I'm legitimately drawing a blank. I couldn't even tell you where I'd start with this list.
Bud Black led the lead, obviously fired. But
That's
Bud
ridiculous.
Black. Ollie Marmol was tied, the Cardinals, at 5 with Bud Black.
See, but like, why though? Is he like that known as being
I
a
think
bad
he is.
manager?
Maybe just not a guy that people want to play for. Mike Schilt, who had 3 votes on the other list, had 4 votes on this one. So he's on
Makes
both.
no sense.
And Ron Washington had 4 votes on which manager aside from would you want to play for. On this one, he had 3 votes against him.
Crap.
4 votes against him.
That one I could have gotten. That one I definitely could have nailed off.
And Dave Roberts is on this list too.
See, I'm never going to understand that. I just don't get that at all.
Managers receiving a vote: Aaron Boone, Carlos Mendoza, Bob Melvin, AJ Hinch, Terry Francona, Brian Snicker all received a vote. So that's just preference. Or if you had a bad run-in with the guy,
Yeah. That one's tough.
Which organizations have good reputations among players and bad reputation? So you could basically guess the top 7 here.
All right. I'm like good reputations first and then bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Yankees are probably up there.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers are up there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mets are an interesting one over the last year or so.
Mets are 6th.
Okay. I would guess like San Diego's got to be somewhere over there.
You know what was shocking? They weren't in the top 10, which I was shocked. I was
Wow.
absolutely shocked by that.
Let's see what else do we got. Good reputations. We're just like the top end like team. I think it was always there with the players.
Atlanta's always there. They're 3rd on the list. They are
Philly
always
there?
No, Philly.
Wow.
They're like 11th here.
Wow, that is.
I'll give you the last 2: the Cubs and the Guardians. Which I was shocked by the Guardians there. The Red Sox right behind the Mets, Rangers, Astros. All right, give me the worst 5.
All right, here we go.
Thing you'll ever guess.
I'll go White Sox.
Yep.
My unfortunate Rockies.
Yep.
Miami, I'm sure.
Yep.
This is where it gets like tough for the Angels, maybe.
Angels are the 6th worst. You got to get 2 more. You got to get the other 2 more.
Okay, here we go. Not Anaheim. I'm trying to like run through division here. NL West, no one's going to be on it.
No.
NL Central, I don't think anybody's going to be on it. Really? It's at the bottom of the. No, not Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, 5th worst.
Really?
And the worst responses for this organization.
Wow. This isn't my guess, but I do want to point out that Seattle always somehow gets like thrown under the bus every
Seattle's
year.
7th worst. Good guess. 7th worst.
Seattle is always in the mix of something going wrong over there. Let's think here. AL West is probably clear.
No.
AL
West.
Wow.
Did you say the A's?
No. Wow. I couldn't. That's such an obvious one, but I wouldn't even think them. Wow, the A's.
The A's. The Nationals have a bad reputation amongst the players. The Rays don't have a great reputation. Yeah. Some fun stuff. Let's see if there's one more on this list. No, that's it. They also did responses on sports gambling.
Oh, Ohtani won.
No, they just like the negative effects of sports gambling being legalized around the league.
Yeah, well, losing is probably the top one.
Very interesting how the players are completely against it because of the threats they get. So it's interesting, to say the least.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see.
They're like the negative effects of it.
The DMs to whoever's
the DMs or the
lost me my parlay.
The screams from the outfield. It's all interesting. Giuseppe, I think that's going to do it here. Episode 55 in the books. I'm sure you will be back at some point joining Kevin and I, and we look forward to it. Thank you very much for making your debut today.
Hey, man, exciting stuff. I got to do everything I wanted. Push Rockies propaganda a little bit. Show off the new Muzzy. I think we're going to keep it till July 4th.
Let's go.
Those are the 2 main things I wanted to do, and I got to do them right off the rip.
Well, you did a good job of that. Really appreciate it. I think we'll be back at some point Tuesday, so we'll let you know what we'll be doing Tuesday. And after that, we will talk to you.
Love